It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another post.
She is a star with a capital S. It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Hello and welcome back to the Menangle Angle. My name's Jessica Watkins and joining me is my co-host David Wonson. Well, Wono, we had a week off of the podcast because we didn't race here last Saturday night. The Riverina Championships took centre stage down there at Wagga, but it's great to be back this week. A big 9-race card coming up tomorrow night. You must be looking forward to having racing back here at Menangle.
Yeah, it was good to have a few days off. It was great racing down there. Congratulations to those winners. It was Captain Hammerhead. And I keep smiling to the connections and the trainers and drivers. $100,000 can't be sneezed at. But yeah, it's nice to be back here. We've got some really good horses. It's amazing. Yeah, the noms were fantastic. You just give them all a week off and they come back in their hundreds. So really strong fields this week.
As I mentioned, there was no Saturday Metropolitan card here at Menangle last Saturday night. So on this week's show, we're going to be speaking to a special guest in Jocelyn Young, who's made the trip over from Western Australia with Steno, a mare that we're familiar with here. She did some of her early 2-year-old and 3-year-old racing before she headed across the Nullarbor there to race in WA. But she's back on a path towards the Queen Elizabeth II Mile, and we'll be speaking with her trainer and driver Jocelyn as they line up in this Saturday night's TAB Sibelia Stakes. We'll also then get stuck straight into our 9-race preview because it is an action-packed card where we get to see $1 Million Max, and I speak of Max Delight lining up. So, Wono, let's get stuck straight into it. Well, Wono, a very special guest on the Menangle Angle today, Jocelyn Young. Welcome to the Menangle Angle podcast, but an even warmer welcome to New South Wales. How did yourself and Steno travel across the Nullarbor?
Hey guys, both come via plane. About a week and a half ago. She was a week ago. I came over a little bit earlier. Everything's been really good. We've been very warmly welcomed and everyone's been really helpful. So it's been pretty cruisy.
So whereabouts are you staying with Steno? Hey Jocelyn, it's Wono here. Whereabouts are you staying with Steno?
Hello. She's staying at Luke McCarthy's at Cobbity. We're in the 5-star accommodation.
It's a pretty good place over there, isn't it? Everything you need.
It's beautiful. Yep.
Have you been able to bring her over to Menangle? Not that she's a stranger to Menangle. She's raced here a few times, but have you been able to have a chance to bring her over and give her a nice workout?
Yeah, brought her over on Monday for a look around, refresh her mind of the track. It was just good for me to have a steer around there as well because it's been a little while.
Yeah, there's not too many. Well, I suppose Gloucester Park's not really Menangle, is it? The 800-metre track at Gloucester Park, and then you come to Menangle on the 1400. Although Pinjarra's a pretty good track. Pinjarra looks a nice roomy track.
Yeah, Pinjarra's good, and that's our home track, so she is used to that. But it's just totally different being on that big track. Even just times-wise, it feels like you're absolutely jogging when we started out our track work.
It is, isn't it? You get you think you're just warming up, and next minute you look at the clock and you're 28.5 or something.
Yeah.
It is a different beast, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So it was really good to be able to get over there and have a drive on it. And I was going to have a couple of trial drives, but obviously they got washed out, so that was a bit unfortunate.
Yeah. Talk to the racing manager there about calling the trials off, David Wonson. Whose decision was that?
That might be my decision. I'm sorry about that. I didn't realise that. There was a bit of wet weather around and it was forecast to rain, and as we always seem to do, we got it wrong and it didn't rain. But anyway, sorry about that, Jocelyn, but I'm sure you'll be right come Saturday.
Yeah, that's all right. Never mind.
Wono just mentioned Saturday night there where Steno and yourself are set to step out in the TAB Sibelia Stakes. It's a qualifying race for the Queen Elizabeth II mile. When did a campaign like this one come onto your radar?
Yeah, we were probably looking at it last year and sort of pushing to get an invite over. But yeah, it's quite an ordeal to get here with flights. So yeah, we needed a fair bit of notice, whereas this year we just decided we'd just do it. There was a flight coming, so we'll just put her on and get over here and try and take luck out of the equation.
Yeah, it's last year I remember she was in really, really good form. There was just a couple of lead-up races. I'm not saying she was disappointed. She just got beaten a couple of those last races before, I think, didn't she? The Queen Elizabeth last year. But yeah, she's been in outstanding form. Like, she's definitely the leading mare in Western Australia. She had those 3 Group 3 wins in succession, and then you went 150 at Pinjarra. Amazing day there. I think it was the first time they ever broke 150 in the boys' mile race there as well, didn't they?
Yeah, the track was on fire, but also probably just having the quality free-for-all boys and quality free-for-all mares racing there on that day was able to showcase how fast the good horses can go around the track when it's prepared right. And yeah, we're pretty lucky, as I said, that's our home track, so we get to work on it all the time. And yeah, it was really nice to be able to race at home with a horse like Steno.
Well, in saying that too, how she settled into the stables over there at Luke's, as you just mentioned, it's 5-star accommodation for the horses. She settled in nice.
Yeah, she hasn't missed a beat. Really happy with her. She's like she's at home.
We know that she's a mare that possesses plenty of gate speed, and you've come up with the barrier draw there in Barrier 1. What was your reaction when you saw those fields come out?
Yeah, I didn't want to get too excited, obviously, but probably, makes my job a bit easier. I'm sort of just on the fence. And she's got good gate speed, but I'm sure plenty of the other mares do as well. And obviously she hasn't lined up against them, or if she has, it hasn't been for a long time. So it's just going to be probably a bit of a different ball game for her. And obviously the gate goes probably a lot quicker than it does at Gloucester Park too. You draw one at Gloucester Park, or if she draws one at Gloucester Park, nothing's getting around her, but could be a different story at Menangle.
Oh, look, they are flying. There's an 80-metre lead into the start positions here. That's both the mile and the 2300. So they are motoring when they come out of the gate here at Menangle. Look, this week's race, and you just mentioned you're not sure what the other's going to do. It's a really strong race. You got Steno, Tay-Tay's got great gate speed. You got the Victorians that have come up, Sweet Nicky Lou, and you got Rakera Rebel. They're drawn a little bit wider. Aaron Dunn's not one to take many prisoners too. He likes to press forward. So
Pandaya as well possesses a lot of gate speed.
Yeah. Luxa Turner's out there wide, being given the visitors draw. Luxa Turner. We've looked after you though, Jocelyn, with Steno and Barrier 1. We made sure the visitors were okay with that. It's just top 4. I'm not saying that I've tipped you to win, so on the morning line, no pressure there, but it's top 4 and you're into the Queen Elizabeth mile there in 2 weeks. What do you think's the biggest danger to her having a look at them? I know you don't get to race them, but who do you see on paper as your biggest dangers this week?
Obviously, like Tay-Tay won well. I think it was last start, and Rakera Rebel's going super. But I mean, I think on Steno's form and the way that the draw is, she should be really hard to beat. Probably only slight query is the actual race fitness. She hasn't missed any work or anything, but she hasn't had the recent races under her belt. But she's just super talented and a super fast mare, so hopefully it's a catch me if you can.
Jess, I like that to hear that, because on the morning line this morning, declared Steno. I said they haven't travelled 4,500 kilometres to take an easy run. They're just going to go forward and win this race. So I like hearing that, Jocelyn. And here in the Queen Elizabeth Mile, there's a lady driver's invitation race. If you did find an invitation in the letterbox, would you say yes?
Oh, yeah. I think I said yes last time and then you rejected me. So we better take it.
I didn't reject you,
Cancelling the
sorry.
trials,
We rejected
reject-
the horse. But it is a bit true. So last time I said, would you like to go on the drive?
Here,
Yeah,
Wono.
I know. I've brushed the horse. I've brushed the trials. I better make sure that invite finds its way there.
Shots are fired.
Jocelyn, does Steno have a stable name that you call her around the barn, and what type of horse is she to have in the stable?
Well, I think her stable name's Sweetie, but she just never gets called that because it's longer than Steno. So, yeah, she's just Steno. And yeah, she's a pretty cruisy character. She does have a couple of little, well, not really quirks, but she loves her molasses. She'll carry on like a pork chop when she sees a molasses bucket. And yeah, she can get pretty excited to go in the paddock and loves rearing up and bucking and jumping. But other than that, she's really easy to deal with. Yeah, she's just a good horse.
Well, my molasses is Cadbury chocolate, especially around Easter time. So I know how she feels with that. Look, we know that there's difficulties with travel, especially going back to Perth, but there is whisper that she may be staying and may be looking towards the breeding barn. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that was sort of ultimately we thought we'll bring her over. As I said, just take luck out of the equation, get her here early, get her in these races. Hopefully we get through to the final and then we'll assess where she goes. Obviously Queensland's coming up after that. So if everything went well, I don't think that Diane and Bernie Kelly would be against a trip up to Queensland, but we need to get through this part first. But yeah, she won't go back to WA. She doesn't have any more to prove or to do. There's not really any real reason to take her back there.
Oh, she's going to be a magnificent broodmare. And yeah, as you said, mentioned Bernie and Di, like what a great family this all these mares are from. So I'm sure there's plenty of residual value when she does that. But yeah, it'll be good if you do go to Queensland. There's plenty of mares races during that carnival. It'll be a good time to be up there anyway. It's a bit warmer. So hopefully, though, we see you here on May 10 in the Queen Elizabeth II Mile.
And Lady Driver's invitation.
And Lady Driver's invitation as well.
Yeah, don't forget that invite. Otherwise, if Steno doesn't get in, I'll be on my way home.
We'll keep you here.
Yeah, well, apparently I've got a permanent position at Luke, so I might need an invitation to drive every week.
That sounds good.
Jocelyn, it's been great to catch up with you today. Welcome to New South Wales, and we wish yourself and all the connections the best of luck with Steno as she heads towards a berth in the Queen Elizabeth II Mile.
Thanks for having me.
No, pleasure.
Gamble responsibly. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Wono, 9 races coming up from Club Menangle this Saturday night, and we've gone to the earliest starting time. We see race 1 set to get underway at 5:17 p.m. And as I mentioned earlier on, this card is headlined by the TAB Sibelia Stakes, which is run at Group 3 level, and we'll see the top 4 place getters from that race qualify for the Queen Elizabeth II Mile, which will be run on Coots Pacing for Pink Night Saturday, the 10th of May. It's going to be an action-packed card, so let's get stuck into race 1. Race 1 is the Breed Your Mare at Success Stud Pace to be run over the mile, and it's Division 1 of the national rating up to 80, and 2 horses really stood out for mine here in this race, Wono, and that's number 8, Sevi for Adam Regari and Will Rickson. He's shooting for 4 on the bounce here. He's been unbeaten since he joined the Adam Regari stable, and I thought he found the line really strongly last start when he won here at Club Menangle. And also another horse that has to be respected in this race is the 9, Stormy Woods for Seed and Grimer. He's only a 3-year-old. He's won his past 3 starts as well, so another one looking for 4 on the bounce. But 2 starts ago up there at Newcastle, he actually went 150.6. So we get to see him take his first look around the track here at Menangle, and it's going to be an exciting clash, I think, this one.
As we see so often with the 80s, there's such open events. And this is no different. There's 5 or 6 genuine chances. I'm just looking for it. There's 3 or 4 horses I've tipped before. Scared Stiff, I've picked on this. American Hammer has the courage. I'm just going Quiet Storm. Number 7, Quiet Storm. Jared Ouch and Cameron Hart takes the reins on that one. He's got good gate speed over the mile, and he's got good form here. I think that's needed. A couple of these horses, I'm not saying they can't, but they haven't raced in the Saturday night grade just yet. So I'm going Quiet Storm, number 7 each way.
Race 2 is the bestinbeds.com.au pace over the 2,300 metres, and we get to see Fighter Command for Jess Tubbs and Greg Sugars back up here at Club Menangle. He's drawn wide out there in barrier 11, but he'll move into barrier 10 should the emergency not be required, and he was very, very dominant in his last start win down there at Melton.
Yeah, look, we know he's a quality animal. He was going to be in the Eureka last year until that major setback. Look, and please, not for a second am I suggesting, Jess and Greg had any doubts about going into the Chariots, but it seemed to be just a bit of a rush to get him into the Paleface Adios, and he wasn't quite at his best. They've just been able to take the pedal off there a little bit, go back to Melton, reset. Horse found his form again. It's going to be extremely hard to beat in what's a pretty tricky race, but this horse, the 2300, will suit him as well.
Race 3, the Remembering Diane Richard Evan pace over the 2,300 metres, and it's the equivalent of a Metro Maiden here. It is a very even field where you could make a case for most of the runners in this, but Ravishing Sloy, he's drawn out there in 11. He'll leave from barrier 9 with 2 scratchings to his inside, but he's been racing in really consistent form there with a win, 3 thirds and a second from his last 5 starts, and despite the wide draw, I definitely think he's got the class in this race, being a national rating 96 to take it out.
Yeah, I'm with you there totally. Ravishing Sloy, as I said, he's got a big opinion of this horse. He's got consistent form, 4 placings, his last 4 starts. Joshy G takes the reins. If he doesn't win this
Joshy G.
You like that?
That's new. I haven't heard that one before.
That might stick, you reckon? Can we throw it? We'll just keep calling that Joshy G. He sounds like a rapper or something, doesn't he?
Joshy G, wow.
Yeah, or a DJ, Joshy G. You can get a new role with this. I've just made that up.
Wow.
I know, cool. Okay, Ravishing Sloy, Joshy G gets the chocolates.
Race 4 is the Club Menangle Waratah final over the mile, set to get underway at 6:52 p.m. And I've looked at number 4 here in Wilhelmina Rita for Neil Day.
Stop it, would you? Are you reading my notes here, Jess?
You can tell that we don't talk before we record this podcast.
Jess just doesn't talk to me other than this.
This is
Stay away from me, Wono.
But I thought she was a really strong performer in her heat down there at Coolaman when Neil Day pulled her out on that final lap. She looked to offer plenty, and she just kept going right towards the line there. And I think if there's a bit of speed on and she's able to get into the race, I think she's a definite winning chance.
Ditto.
That's it. We move on to race 5, the summertime premium poultry pace here over the mile, and we get to see that $1 million man, Max Delight. He's drawn out wide here in barrier 11, but how dominant was he last start? And I think he looks set to do the same. The TAB certainly think so, because I think he's currently around the $1.35 mark.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what he would have been if he had drawn 3 or 4 in this sort of race. Look, yeah, I think what gives you some confidence with Max Delight, go back to the Italian Cup just before the Inter Dominion, and he sat parked in 49.9, I think it was. So that's not adverse to him to do that. I think there's so much gate speed inside him that they might just ride the wake down, wait till they all settle, just slowly move around. Will's just developed such a rapport with this horse at the moment. It's fantastic. It's the old and the new, I suppose, with Max Delight and Will Rickson. But, yeah, the way he's going, and I think the horse, and David would probably tell you this too, the little breaks between runs really suits him. So, yeah, he's going to be incredibly hard to beat. Like, for second and third, throw a dart. Like, any of those horses are deserving of running a place in this race. But, yeah, Max Delight, just on current form, is going to be pretty hard to beat.
Just for your minors there, I definitely think Where You Been Boppin' has to be considered. That win down there in the Goulburn Cup where he came home was very strong. And even though See Art lined up in the Goulburn Cup with a 5th there, I'm going to push him. He's back here at Menangle as a
He's one of
sectional
your
star.
time.
And
Yeah, sectional
he's
star.
$3.80 the place, currently fixed odds. So definitely think he could be worth a play there. Race 6 is the feature event on the card. It's the TAB Sibelia Stakes at Group 3 level for the open class mares. And where do we even begin with this field? Number 1, Steno for Jocelyn Young. She's made the trip back from WA, and we spoke with Jocelyn earlier in the show, and she sounds really pleased with how she's been working heading into this event. Looks like diamonds for David Miles, also makes the trip up from Victoria. Tay there in barrier 3 for Jason Grimson. We also then see drawn out wide number 10, Sweet Nicky Lou. I thought her run down there at Melton last start, where she was forced to sit outside the leader in the free-for-all, was a very impressive run. And number 11, Rakiro Rebel for Jess Tubbs and Greg Sugars was very dominant in winning that free-for-all last start as well.
Yeah, really good race. And I showed the depth, I suppose, reflected in the odds. There's 4 horses, $4 and under. I think 3 of them are like $3.80 and one of them's $4.40. It's been a big move apparently for Nicky Lou, Sweet Nicky Lou on the tab. Yeah, she's just so unlucky, that horse. From Mountain Barrier 10, it's a bit wide, but she won't be caught up. They put it that way. And Aaron Dunn's not unfamiliar with going forward either. Rakira Rebel's been winning free-for-alls. God, it's a good race. Tay, we know how good she is. But yeah, Steno, Barrier 1, Jocelyn Young. I don't think they've come over here to run 3rd or 4th. I think they want to win this and go straight into the Queen Elizabeth. So go on Steno.
You just mentioned there the move on tab on Sweet Nicky Lou. Well, I can tell you, looking at it, the fluctuations, that she opened at $9. She's currently into $4.40. So there's definitely been a big go on her. And her last run down there at Melton, like I mentioned, that doesn't surprise me at all. But it's also the top 4 mares that from this race will then qualify into the Queen Elizabeth II mile, and then we'll have the Robin Dundee Stakes next week, and we'll see the top 4 qualify from there, and then those final 2 spots are decided.
Basically, there's 2 invites there, but they'll basically come from these races. That's the way. Like, nothing's really, other than maybe I Keep Smiling, which is going to go around next week. That's put their hands up and said, invite me. Last year we only had 1 invite, and that was Ladies in Red, who was, of course, thoroughly deserving of that invite. But if there was one this year, it'd be I Keep Smiling, but she's going to go around next week. So we'll let her go around and we'll just see what the performances are in these races.
Race 7 is the Cannibal Standing at Cobbitty Equine Farm Ladyship Pace here, an event for the mares with a national rating up to 75, and they were also balloted from the Sibelia Stakes here, and 2 stood out for mine. They've drawn out wide there alongside each other in number 9, Boulevard of Dreams. She won the Western Breeders' Challenge final back towards the back end of last year for Matt Rue there. Jet Turnbull's pick up the drive there, and she's won her last 3 starts, and I expect her to really step up to the plate here coming to Menangle. And then Soho Americano, she's been a really nice performer that we've got to see here at Menangle, where she won the Wraith Memorial back there on Miracle Mile Night in March, and from there she's also run 3rd in the Gold Bracelet up there at Bathurst.
Yeah, look, I like Soho Americano out in 10. I think she come 3rd in the Bracelet. She had that win in the in the Wraith. Nice filly on the way up, and like you mentioned, she's got the New South Wales Oaks definitely on the radar for her. So I think she'll win this one.
Race 8 is the Menangle Park Glenlee Community Trotters Discretionary Handicap, a standing start over the 2,300 metres here, and we'll hand over to Moon. He's coming off the 10-metre mark here, and from what we've seen of him of late, he definitely looks set to make it back-to-back wins. Yeah,
look, he's going to be extremely hard to beat if he brings that form to this race. Yeah, definitely. I know he's off in the 10 metres, but he's such a good stand, and it's not unusual to see him out in front, 10, 15, 20 metres in front sometimes in these races. So the 10 metres, it's not a big field, 10 horses. But, once again, like you make a case for 3 or 4 of these off the front. Sonny G, he just pops his head up every now and then and collects the money in one of these races. Speedy Lover isn't too far away from picking up a good check. I don't even know how to say Jess Tubbs, Greg Sugar's horse. I'm going to say Dictomy. I hope that's it. It's got good form from Victoria. Yeah, fair to cover. Once again, picks up a good check in these races every now and then. So, but Hanover Damoon's flying at the moment, so pretty hard to go past the 10.
And the final race on Saturday night's card is the Multi-Quip Aggregates Pace over the mile, and it's Division 2 of the national rating up to 80. Again here, as even as they come, but one that I'm going to give a push to
Don't you say Red Reactor.
I feel like you're stealing this one from me because he was definitely a sectional start earlier on.
But your sectional stars are pretty good. And we want people following them because they do go so good. Yeah, I'm Red Reactor. He's 2 seconds. Once again, really open field. But, yeah, Red Reactor, he's Mr. Consistent. I think he'll go good.
So do I. In the Red Reactor team there as well. Gamble responsibly. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Well, Wono, your best bet, who have you got?
I'm going to the second race, Fighter Command. As I said, I just don't think he was his best here, trying to get into the Chariots of Fire. But they've taken him home, reset, one last start. He's a very, very good animal. And I think you'll appreciate the 2300 as well.
My best bet comes up in race 6, and I'm going the
lucky it
way
wasn't mine.
of number 10, Sweet Nikki Lou. I really was impressed by what I saw from her last start down there at Melton, where she finished 4th. She was forced to sit outside the leader throughout that free-for-all and thought she still kept fighting to the line. So I'm sticking with Sweet Nikki Lou.
Are you sure? You've got your tab app open on your phone there, so I think you're looking at the fluctuations and you might be having some bonus bets there even. Sweet Nikki Lou.
Gamble responsibly.
Yes, gamble responsibly.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call 1-800-858-858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Well, Wono, I can tell you that at Coots Pacing for Pink Race Night on Saturday, the 10th of May, the Pink Affair charity dinner up there on level 2, it's almost sold out. So if you are wanting to get your tickets for that event, jump onto the Club Menangle website sooner rather than later because they won't be there for long. But I can tell you what else looks really exciting on that night, and it is the Miracle Mile restaurant. They're going to be serving a bespoke pink menu. So what better way to elevate your race night experience than heading up there into the Miracle Mile restaurant?
Yeah, it'll be a really good atmosphere on that night. And we've got the night markets, of course. So there's going to be plenty of people on course, and the restaurants will be full, both level 1 and 2. So, yeah, and great racing. 4 Group 1s, Group 2. Yeah, it's going to be a great night.
It's been great to be back on the Menangle Angle today, Wono. We had a little freshen up from the week off, but we're back now and we're ready to go in what's going to be a fantastic 3 weeks of racing, or 4 weeks, because we have the Trotters Derby as well after the
regional finals as well, straight after those. So some great racing coming up actually over the next month. Really looking forward to it all.
Some of us have the elite loft as well, but
some of us do, don't we? Yeah.
Just rub it in a bit. I just had to. Yeah. I couldn't let it go.
Yeah, just a bit of salt into that wound. Thanks for that, Jess.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Menangle Angle. We'll catch you again next Thursday.